Another day, another bad Australian real estate investment. Every time I read this newspaper here in Malaysia, I see an ad for come to our seminar, buy real estate in Australia because it's a great investment. Now, a lot of people in emerging countries love the idea of buying in countries like Australia, but as someone who follows the principle, go where you're treated best, and as someone who follows dozens of real estate markets, I can tell you that Australia may just be the worst place to invest in real estate anywhere in the world. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist, and over the last few years I've had the chance to talk to dozens and dozens of Australians that I'm working with in creating their offshore plans. And one thing stands out for me to where it's almost become a bit of a joke when I'm talking to someone new, and that is people who are in Australia who are investing in real estate in Australia are getting really low returns. Here's the common scenario. Someone comes to me and says, Andrew, I'm running a successful business. I'm making $500,000 a year and I'm paying a boatload in tax. Why don't you help me go offshore and I can save that money legally? But then part of the diagnostic process includes, well, do you own real estate in Australia? Yes. But the good news, Andrew, is it's rented. I don't live there. It's not my home. I'm clear to leave Australia. Well, that's great. But what will happen is I'll hear, I have $1 million house and I'm renting it out for a couple $100 a week. And at the end of the year, I'm making 10 grand, 15 grand, and that is fully taxable. It is very rare that anyone I talk to is making more than 1 or 2% yield on their property in Australia. In some cases, they're just trading water. It's the old, I'm just going to cover the mortgage and make nothing for a while and hope the property goes up later. But in addition to really low yields, property in Australia is historically up and down, particularly in the resource parts like Perth, but really all over the country. Prices have been going down recently. One article in the newspaper in Australia said prices are dropping by as much as $1,000 a week. That's a lot of money. As someone who lived in California and Arizona in the United States during the big crash, I saw prices drop 40, 50, 60% in places like Las Vegas. It was a bloodbath. And while you may not see drops like that in Australia, the idea that an overheated market continue forever is simply unrealistic. And so if I'm going to be in an overheated market, I want to make big yields. If I'm not making growth in my property, or if I'm not guaranteed to have growth, I want rich cash flow. And the challenge is that Australia really offers neither. What I've learned from talking to some of my Australian friends is that the idea, as in so many other parts of the world, is that you not only don't want to invest outside of the country of Australia, that's most people are taught don't invest outside of Australia, but not only that, don't invest outside of the city. If you're in Adelaide, you should invest in Adelaide. Be there, be with your property. Don't trust anything else. If you're in Sydney, Melbourne, wherever, that's where you want to invest. And there's a certain value to saying, I'm going to be near my property, I can be hands-on. It doesn't make for much of a passive investment, but I understand that. However, someone who's coming to me and says, I want a global perspective, the first thing I look at if they own real estate in Australia is, how do we get rid of this asset that may well be declining in value in coming years, that's making us almost nothing right now, and that potentially is a thorn in our side for leaving the country. It just means that once we're out of Australia, we still have to file tax forms reporting that income. It's just a waste of time. How do we sell that property? How do we unlock the equity? How do we put that somewhere else in a market like somewhere here in Southeast Asia, like Colombia, like Eastern Europe, where we can make 8, 10, 12% yields, where property has historically gone up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% a year, where the market is growing? One of the things I see in Australia is that there's not a huge influx of immigration. The government is trying to keep it at bay. You're not just going to go from 20 million to 50 million in the coming years. And in other countries like Turkey, for example, where people are having children, Kazakhstan, people are having an average of like 4 or 5 children. In places where there is a growth story, in places where things are on the upswing, because the country's on the upswing, the Cambodias, the Georgias, the Colombias, the Chiles, these countries have a lot of potential. And so I really think that someone who's invested in Australian real estate, who understands that other countries around the world are safe too, that other countries have good governments, have safe infrastructure, have good judiciaries, that you can literally go and 5 times or 10 times your return from Australian property, moving somewhere else where you have a lot more potential. I understand a lot of folks think that Australia is the great safe haven, but if they were to understand that other countries had that potential, they'd make a lot more money, and you can too.
I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you're looking for a way to legally reduce your taxes, build your freedom, and create wealth faster as a global citizen, then you've come to the right place. I want you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, click the button to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to get notifications so you never miss a new video. Number 2, get a copy of our #1 best-selling book, Nomad Capitalist, on Amazon and learn all the dozens of benefits of our lifestyle. And number 3, if you're already a 6 or 7-figure entrepreneur and you want to put these strategies in place, go to nomadcapitalist.com and find out how to get some help.